are these hairpin turns, bro? Dude, a stop sign doesn't mean like, dude, go. The fuck are you doing? People are crazy. Trump being late is to my advantage. Okay. This way. Okay. Okay. Trump was late. Hold on. Look a hot mess. Yeah. Go on. Connect the audio to my car. All right. So, whether or not anyone is watching this now, the entire point of this is that I would like to have audio of my reaction to this Trump press conference today. Like, this is absolutely insane. Trump sent in a full military strike team to capture Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela, and they're bringing him back to the United States. Absolutely insane. Let's see. So yeah, I have it up. I mean, obviously, if you're coming here to watch the press conference, you're not going to see it here. This is strictly going to be the audio once it starts, and my reaction to it. Yeah, see on YouTube, they're just showing an empty podium or lectern. Wait. Go back. Okay. So yeah, this is like crazy, man. Like I haven't seen anything like this before. Orientation is locked, of course it is. Because I started it vertically. It is what it is. Of course, Trump is late to his own press conference. Yeah, this is what I'm dealing with right now. The whole world is waiting with bated breath. There's 143,000 people watching the White House feed on X. It's interesting. Some are watching it directly on the White House website. I don't know that that's going to be any better. Again, we're just waiting for him. Let me actually block out my windows. At least some of it. I don't want any distractions. The one in the back, I can ignore that with a curtain. Okay. I'm currently at a Sheetz. Probably could connect to their Wi-Fi, but it's probably not going to be any better than my signal. So as long as Trump does not announce that we are going to war, like actual war, full ground invasion or something, like, I can live with this. How are you going to be 20 minutes late to your own press conference? You just snatched up a world leader. I say world leader like he's not superpower leader, but you just snatched up a leader and then what? Retouch. The hell? The fuck is that? Oh, it's like AI generated. I don't need any of that. Yeah, so if you're just now joining, we're basically watching or we're waiting for Trump to come on. This is going to be my reaction to his press conference. So if you're actually looking to watch the press conference live, I don't know why you would come to me for that anyway. That doesn't make any sense. But I'm just going to be reacting to it, and I have the audio up. He is 20 minutes late to his own press conference. I'm going to start a poll. Do you think Trump will announce a full-scale war? Yes. No. That's it. The hell? I guess we could do that. That's so weird. I don't want to end the poll. Okay. We're waiting for Trump. Hello? How do I fix this? Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. Talking crap with friends on Discord about this Trump press conference that's about to start. Saying some wild stuff. That's so nasty. Yeah, so if you are just joining, I'm going to be watching the press conference and you will hear the audio. This is not something like where you're gonna watch it with me. Like, we're not gonna be doing that live. I'm out in the field. I'm on a lull period actually, in between my case. So yeah, this is what I got going on right now. Seeing a couple of votes pop in. One says yes for full-scale war. Looks like 2 are saying no so far. Wow, he's really late.
It's actually kind of inconvenient. It started out convenient, and then it's not really convenient anymore. Because yeah, in about 30 minutes, I need to head back over to my location and work. One of them is saying he could be taking a nap. Someone said he's trying to get a boner to show off to the press. He's waiting for the Viagra to kick in. That's nasty, bro. Trump is like 80. Okay, I'm seeing like they're releasing photos. Okay, but what's going on? Just making sure I'm not just tripping here. That's my general chat. Political dumpster fire. Okay, here we go. No? I actually have technically two feeds running right now. I have the White House on X, and I have the White House on the website running, and we're all just waiting. How convenient. I mean, everyone's has an opinion about, what just Trump just did, but hmm. This is crazy. Now he's like 30 minutes late. So usually what happens when they're this late like this, there's some kind of, that's a very strange individual. Usually when they're late like this, that means something else has happened. They're updating their information for the press, to put out and all that stuff, and or there was something else that's going on that's they got to take care of. Yeah, what? This dude is like super late. This is crazy. Still not seeing it. We're just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Let's see. I have like 3 phones. Maybe I could pull up a news feed from something else. Trying to connect to something. Only have but so many different news feeds or different devices to connect to things. At a certain point, it's like, you know.
Very complicated days ahead for the country of Venezuela.
Absolutely. Matt Rivers for us. Please stand by. I want to go back to Pierre Thomas because, Pierre, I understand that President Trump has posted a photo of Maduro in custody. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, he just posted the photo. It's like, dude, you forget that you said there's supposed to be a press conference at 11?
And my sources have been telling me all morning.
Come on,
that
Trump.
was central to the law enforcement aspect. They helped build the case against Maduro in the past, and you're going to see that and hear that all day from the administration. We expect the president to lay out that, again, this was the military supporting law enforcement action, that Maduro had been indicted, and there's a superseding indictment that's now unsealed in New York, and that, again, the military was there to conduct this operation on behalf of U.S. law enforcement. But again, in that picture you see, that's the messaging you're going to hear throughout the day.
And Pierre, while I have you, someone pointed out this contradiction that, we now have this image of Maduro in custody, but then recently President Trump pardoned Juan Orlando Hernandez, the former president of Honduras, who was actually convicted on narcotics trafficking charges. How are your sources responding to that? And what's
So this isn't the first time we've done this? Like, I'm so confused. I've never heard of us doing this before.
President Trump himself has tried to portray the Biden administration prosecution of the former president of Honduras as, quote, illegitimate, and that it was bogus in some regards. Having said that, the man was convicted by a jury in the United States of these crimes. Number two, critics are saying that this is an example of inconsistent, to be kind, in terms of their words, action by the administration. On the one hand, the claim was very similar about the former president of Honduras, that he was engaged and helped participate in facilitating countless amounts of drugs coming into the United States, which is the exact charge that's being brought against Maduro today.
Our Pierre Thomas Forrest, thank you so much. And it's worth reminding our viewers, too, again, as we're seeing these images coming in from Venezuela, and also that the lower corner there, that is a live picture from Mar-a-Lago, where the president is expected to speak any moment. All of this comes amid these increased tensions with Venezuela and the strikes on alleged drug boats in the Caribbean and the Pacific. There have been at least 121 alleged drug smugglers who've been killed in some 30 strikes as all of this has been escalating. And we've been talking about the military buildup in the region. There are now about 15,000 U.S. military personnel in the Caribbean. We've talked about the USS General Ford there and 2,200 Marines aboard a number of ships in the Caribbean. No doubt all of them there to support this operation. So let's go back to our chief foreign affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz, to talk more about the operation itself. And Martha, you mentioned that we were getting reports of some injuries as part of this strike.
Apparently, several Americans were injured. There were no deaths. The president announced this on Fox News earlier today.
How the
And
hell?
a helicopter was damaged but did manage to make it out of Venezuela. But this was a remarkable operation. Truly, as far as we know so far, flawlessly performed by...
This is
US
ABC
and
News
law
right now.
enforcement. We did, as you say, have all those U.S. military forces.
This is ABC News talking about Trump. They're praising this so much.
Drug boats, 30 suspected drug boats since September. This was the massive show of force. This was Maduro, get out of there, stop this drug trade, resign, get out of the country. We also know that President Trump had spoken to Maduro very recently. That may have been to make him feel comfortable and not afraid. We think it was probably in the presidential palace where this capture happened, where President Trump described the forces going in, the military forces, and we presume the law enforcement forces as well, going after Maduro in the dead of night, capturing him and his wife. U.S. forces had been practicing this, President Trump said. They built a building. This sounds so much like the death of bin Laden, building a compound, knowing exactly where you go. This would be standard for something like the Delta Force or Navy SEALs to go into an area that they knew that they had been surveilling, likely from drones. And as we said earlier, a source telling us that there was also a CIA clandestine team on the ground watching Maduro for several weeks, getting his pattern.
You know the news media loves war. They love war.
What kind of security does he have around him? And building, I would imagine, likely from some sort of asset on the ground, some sort of person who knows Maduro, knows his pattern of life, what exactly that palace looks like, where he sleeps, where they could enter that building, where that safe room was that they say he never made it into, even though they said those forces were prepared to breach those doors.
Oh, here he
We
goes.
have the president coming out here soon with.
All right, Martha, yes, as you noted right there, President Trump
And
is
early
entering
today,
the room here, heading...
At my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history.
This is crazy.
And if you think about it, you got some other good ones like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as Midnight Hammer, all perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have. It was dark and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York. It's Jay Clayton.
That I need to talk
Their
about.
campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You rarely see anything like it. You've seen some raids in this country that didn't go so well. They were an embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan, or if you look back to the Jimmy Carter days, they were different days. We're a respected country again, maybe like never before. These highly trained warriors operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement caught them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out in the sea, just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming. So they were in what's called a ready position. People involved in that fight. I think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was more important.
That's good.
The United States military is the strongest and most fearsome military on the planet by far. With capabilities and skills our enemies can scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no equipment like what we have, and you see that even if you just look at the boats. We've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills on average, 25,000 people. We knocked out 97 people. We knocked out 97%. And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years.
So regime
we are
change.
going to run the country until such
Oh
time
no,
safe,
Trump,
proper,
no.
judicious transition.
That means
And it has
boots
to
on the
be
ground.
judicious.
Oh, for
This is
fuck's
what we're all
sake.
about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela, and that includes many from Venezuela that are now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland. We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people.
They have
in
a
mind.
shit ton of oil and resources there. How convenient that we're going to be staying there
We're not
now.
going to let that happen.
Jesus Christ.
We're there now, and what people don't understand, but they understand as I say this, we're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it, essentially.
Oh
until
my
such time
God, Trump, no.
transition can take place. As everyone knows, the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust, for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could
See, he has to bring up the oil.
and what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the
It's
world,
literally for the oil.
go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave if we needed to do so. We actually assumed that a second wave would be necessary, but now it's probably not. The first wave, if you'd like to call it that, the first attack was so successful, we probably don't have to do a second, but we're prepared to do a second wave, a much bigger wave, actually. This was pinpoint, but we have a much bigger wave that probably won't have to do. This partnership of Venezuela with the United States of America, a country that everybody wants to be involved with because of what we were able to do and accomplish, will
This is
make
horrific.
the people of Venezuela rich, independent, and safe. And it will also make the many, many people from Venezuela that are living in the United States extremely happy. They suffered. They suffered. So much was taken from them. They're not going to suffer anymore. The illegitimate dictator Maduro was the kingpin of a vast criminal network responsible for trafficking.
I mean, that part I agree
colossal
with,
amounts
but
of deadly and illicit drugs into the United States. As alleged in the indictment, he personally oversaw the vicious cartel known as Cartel de las Solas, which flooded our nation with lethal poison responsible for the deaths of countless Americans. Many Americans, hundreds and thousands over the years of Americans died because of it. Maduro and his wife will soon face the full might of American justice and on American soil. Right now, their ownership will be heading to ultimately New York, and then a decision will be made.
let's make this easier to
New York
view.
and Miami or Florida. But we have people where the overwhelming evidence of their crimes will be presented in a court of law. And I've seen it. I've seen what we have. It's both horrible and breathtaking that something like this could have been allowed to take place. For many years after his term as president of Venezuela expired, Maduro
Venezuela.
remained in power and waged a ceaseless campaign of violence, terror, and subversion against the United States of America, threatening not only our people, but the stability of the entire region. You all saw it. In addition to trafficking gigantic amounts of illegal drugs that inflicted untold suffering and human destruction all over the country, all over in particular.
This
the
is
United
crazy,
States.
man.
Maduro sent savage and murderous gangs, including the bloodthirsty prison gang, Tren de Aragua.
Yeah, he's a bad guy, but now we're going to be there and get their oil.
They were in Colorado. They took over apartment complexes.
He just said that we're going to go in there and stay there for the transition and get their oil.
They're not so brutal now.
Cool,
I
cool,
just
cool.
have to congratulate our
It's Iraq and
military,
Afghanistan all over again.
National Guard, because the job that they've done, whether it's in Washington, D.C., where we have a totally
This is fucking
safe
ridiculous.
city, where it was one of the most unsafe cities anywhere in the world, frankly, and now we have no crime in Washington, D.C. We haven't had a killing. We had the terrorist attack a few weeks ago. A little bit of a different kind of a threat, but we haven't had
Absolute
a killing
insanity.
a long period of time, 6-7 months. We used to have on average two a week in Washington, our capital. We don't have that.
Yeah, we get it, Trump.
The restaurants are opening. Everyone's happy. They go in. They're walking their daughters. They're walking their children, their wives.
We
They
don't
walk to
really care about that, sir.
restaurants are opening all over.
Tell us more about how we're going to be the transition
National Guard. I want to thank our military. And I want to
for
thank all
Venezuela.
those. They've been amazing.
I want to know more about why we are going to stay there.
We're doing it in Memphis, Tennessee right now, and crime is down. Just sort of started a few weeks ago, but crime is down now 77%. And the governor of Louisiana called.
How's the audio, by the way?
Person, and he wanted us to help him, as you know.
I haven't seen a single comment.
Part of Louisiana, and we have done that. It was a rough
What's the
section.
difference?
And we have crime down. I understand it's down to almost nothing already after.
Can someone comment, please? Just I don't care if you say test or FU. I just need to be able to see what it looks like.
And we've only been there for
It's not
4.5
popping up.
weeks. Can't imagine why governors wouldn't want us to help. We also helped, as you know, in Chicago, and crime went down a little bit there. We did a very small help because we had no working ability with the governor. The governor was a disaster, and the mayor was a disaster. But it knocked down crime. But we're pulling out of there when they need us. We'll know. You'll know. You'll be writing about it. And likewise, Los Angeles, where we saved Los Angeles early on, where the head of the police department made a statement that if the federal government didn't come in, we would have lost Los Angeles. That's long after the fires. That's when they had the riots in Los Angeles.
Thank you. Okay, I see that. I appreciate it.
We don't need to. But we'll be pulling out when they need us. They'll call, or we'll go back if we have to. We'll go back.
I'm going the wrong way.
We did a great job in various cities.
All right, he's doing the rambling thing.
Washington, D.C., because it's our nation's capital. We took it from being a crime-ridden mess.
We don't care about that. We want to know about why we're sending United States troops to stay in Venezuela and be the transition for them to take over.
The cities I mentioned, Trinidad, and they were sent by Maduro to terrorize our people, and now Maduro will never again be able to threaten an American citizen or anybody.
Oh no, he said oil. He just came out and said it.
For years I've highlighted the stories of those innocent Americans whose lives.
That's one thing I'll say about Trump. He'll just come out and say it. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go and take over the oil. We're gonna send in American oil companies. Like, okay.
Americans like
at least you're honest.
Jocelyn Nungari from Houston. Beautiful Jocelyn Nungari, what happened to her? They, as you know, they kidnapped, assaulted, and murdered by Trinidad animals. They murdered Jocelyn and left her dead under the bridge. There was a bridge that will never be the same to so many people after seeing what happened. As I've said many times, the Maduro regime emptied out their prisons, sent their worst and most violent monsters into the United States.
Can you imagine being Marco Rubio and he's just like, bro,
mental institutions.
let's wrap this up, bro.
They came from prisons and jails. The reason I say both, they sound similar. Actually, prisons a little bit more hostile, a little bit tougher. A mental institution isn't as tough as an insane asylum, but we got them both. They sent from their mental institutions, they sent from their jails, prisons. They were drug dealers, they were drug kingpins, they sent everybody bad into the United States. But no longer. And we have now a border where nobody gets through. In addition, Venezuela, American oil, American assets, and American platforms.
There he goes with the oil.
Costing us billions and billions of dollars. They did this a while ago, but we never had a president that did anything about it. They took all of our property. It was our property.
Venezuela.
And we never had a president that decided to do anything about it. Instead, they fought wars that were 10,000 miles away.
So now we can fight wars that are in our own hemisphere.
With American
cool.
Drive and skill, and the socialist regime stole it from us during those previous.
I'm just telling you, man. Like, this is
and they
wild.
Stole it through force. This constituted one of the largest thefts of American property in the history of our country. Considered the largest theft of property in the history of our country. Massive oil infrastructure was taken like we were babies, and we didn't do anything about it. I would have done something about it. America will never allow foreign powers to rob our people and drive us back into and out of our own hemisphere. That's what they did. Furthermore, under the now deposed dictator Maduro, Venezuela was increasingly hosting foreign adversaries in our region. and acquiring menacing offensive weapons that could threaten U.S. interests and lives. And they used those weapons last night. Potentially in league with the cartels operating along our border. All of these actions were in gross violation of the core principles of American foreign policy.
Oh, snap.
Dating back more than 2 centuries. And not anymore. All the way back, it dated to the Monroe Doctrines. And the Monroe Doctrine is a big deal, but we've superseded it by a lot, by a real lot. They now call it the Monroe Document. I don't know. It's Monroe Doctrine. We sort of forgot about it. It was very important, but we forgot about it. We don't forget about it anymore. Under our new national security strategy, American dominance in the Western Hemisphere will never be questioned again. It won't happen. So just in concluding, for decades, other administrations have neglected or even contributed to these growing security threats in the Western Hemisphere. Under the Trump administration, we are reasserting American power in a very powerful way in our home region. And our home region is very different than it was
I honestly
a while ago.
kind of preferred if they would have done something with Mexico.
We had great dominance in my first term, and we have far greater dominance right now. Everyone's coming back to us. The future will be determined by the ability to protect commerce and territory and resources that are core to national security. These are core to our national security. Just like tariffs are, they've made our country rich, and they've made our national security stronger than ever before. But these are the iron laws that have always determined global
This is
power.
crazy.
And we're going to keep it that way. We will secure our borders. We will stop the terrorists. We will crash the cartels, and we will defend our citizens against all threats, foreign and domestic. Other presidents may have lacked the courage or whatever to defend America, but I will never allow terrorists and criminals to operate with impunity against the United States. This extremely successful operation should serve as warning to anyone who would threaten American sovereignty or endanger American lives. Very importantly, the embargo on all Venezuelan oil remains in full effect. The American Armada remains poised in position, and the United States retains all military options have been fully met and fully satisfied. All political and military figures in Venezuela should understand
Venezuela.
what happened to Maduro can happen to them, and it will happen to them if they aren't just there.
This is wild, man.
The dictator and terrorist, Maduro, is finally gone in Venezuela. People are free. They're free again. It's been a long time for them, but they're free. America is a safer nation this morning. It's a prouder nation this morning because it didn't allow this horrible person and this country that was doing very bad things to us. It didn't allow it to happen. And the Western Hemisphere is right now a much safer place to be. So I want to thank everybody for being here.
Are you going to take questions?
General Racing Kane, he's fantastic. Man, I've worked with a lot of generals. I worked with some I didn't like. I worked with some I didn't respect. I worked with some that just weren't good. But this guy is fantastic. I watched last night.
That's not enough. He's going to take questions.
Attacks.
Because I have about 12 questions right now.
For justice. And I'm very proud of him, and I'm very proud of our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, who I'm going to ask to say a few words. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finally, a commander-in-chief the world respects and the American people deserve. And as the president said, words can barely capture the bravery and the power and the precision of this historic operation. A massive joint military and law enforcement raid flawlessly executed by the greatest Americans our country has to offer. American warriors are second to none. The best in the world and the best of our country. what all of us witnessed last night was sheer guts and grit, gallantry and glory of the American warrior. I'm simply humbled by such men. And I tip my hat to our chairman, Dan Raising Cane, and all those Americans.
Raising Cane is his name.
Our warriors are the elite of America, and again, President Trump has your back. No other country on planet Earth, and it's not even close, could pull this kind of operation off. And no other president has ever shown this kind of leadership, courage, and resolve. The most powerful combination the world has.
Let's go into sport mode.
As the president said, our adversaries remain on notice. America can reject our will anywhere, anytime. The coordination, the stealth, the lethality, the precision, the very long arm of American justice, all on full display in the middle of the night. Nicolas Maduro had his chance, just like Iran had their chance. Until they didn't, until he didn't. He effed around, and he found out. President Trump is deadly serious about stopping the flow of gangs and violence to our country. Deadly serious about stopping the flow of drugs and poison to our people. Deadly serious about getting back the oil that was stolen from us. And serious about reestablishing American deterrence and dominance in Western Hemisphere. This is about the safety, security, freedom, and of the American people. First, this is peace and strength.
It's.
And the United States Border Patrol.
I don't know if it's America first, but I can see why they could argue that.
And under President Trump, America is back. I'd like to welcome now our Chairman Raising Cane, to give a few.
Raising Cane.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning. Last night, on the order of the President of the United States, and in support of a request from the Department of Justice, as the President said, the United States military conducted an apprehension mission in Caracas, Venezuela, to bring to justice two indicted persons, Nicolas and Cecile Maduro. This operation, known as Operation Absolute Resolve, was discreet, precise, and conducted during the darkest hours of January 2nd, and was the culmination of months of planning and rehearsal, an operation that, frankly, only the United States military could undertake. What I'd like to do this morning is talk to you through some of the preparation and the details without compromising any of our tactics, techniques, and procedures.
Give me 1 second.
There is always a chance that we'll be tasked to do this type of mission again. Our interagency work began months ago and built on decades of experience of integrating complex air, ground, space, and maritime operations. While the past 2 decades have honed the skills of our special operations forces, this particular mission required every component of our joint force, with soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians working in unison with our intelligence agency partners and law enforcement teammates in an unprecedented operation. We leveraged our unmatched intelligence capabilities and our years of experience in hunting terrorists. And we could not have done this mission without the incredible work by various intelligence agencies, including the CIA, NSA, and NGA. We watched, we waited, we prepared, we remained patient and professional. This mission was meticulously planned, drawing lessons from decades of missions over the last many years, many missions over these last many years. This was an audacious operation that only the United States could do. It required the utmost of precision and integration within our joint force. And the word integration does not explain the sheer complexity of such a mission. An extraction so precise it involved more than 150 aircraft launching across the Western Hemisphere in close coordination, all coming together in time and place to layer effects for a single purpose: to get an interdiction force into downtown Caracas, obtaining the element of tactical failure of one component of this well-oiled machine would have endangered the entire mission, and failure is never an option for America's joint force.
I guess it's
Those
not.
in the air over Caracas last night were willing to give their lives for those on the ground and in the helicopters. Let me talk a little bit about the preparation. After months of work by our intelligence teammates to find Maduro and understand how he moved, where he lived, where he traveled, what he ate, what he wore, what were his pets, in early December, our force was set pending a series of aligned events. Key was choosing to minimize the and minimize the harm to the indicted person that could be brought to justice. And as the president said earlier today, weather in Venezuela is a factor this time of the year. And over the weeks through Christmas and New Year's, the men and women of the United States military sat ready for the right triggers to be met and the president to order us into action. Last night, the weather broke just enough, clearing a path that only the most skilled aviators in the world could maneuver through. Ocean, mountain, low clouds, ceilings. But when tasked with a mission, this organization...
Let's finish this up here. Let's recap. Okay. So, the takeaways of this: Trump authorized a big-scale attack in Venezuela last night. They used all branches of the military, according to him in his press conference, including the Space Force. They had 150 aircraft in the air. They had dozens of naval warships, and they did not disclose how many troops were on the ground when they actually launched this assault. I'm sure that'll come out at some point. But the way it was described, it was massive, massive, massive assault. They successfully breached where Maduro, I guess his presidential palace or wherever he was staying, and they very rapidly and quickly cleared the building, presumably engaging and killing dozens, if not hundreds, of bodyguards or troops, like some goddamn movie or video game, and just killed them all. Not a single U.S. service member was killed, according to Trump. They captured Maduro and his wife, and they extracted them with helicopters and got out of there. And he is on his way to the United States right now. So, yeah, and then Trump's other big takeaway, he just came out and said it. He just said, yeah, we got Maduro. We're gonna stick around, and we're gonna be directly in charge of Venezuela. The United States of America is going to be directly in charge of Venezuela for the time being. Whatever that means. I guess we're going to directly puppet rule them. And he very openly stated, yeah, we're here for the oil. We're going to take the oil reserves. We're going to take their oil fields. We're sending in the American oil industries. They're going to restart and repair and refurbish and rebuild all of these old oil fields that used to be ours or that our companies built. And we're taking it. We're taking the oil. So okay, I guess that's what we're doing. I guess that's what we're doing again. So yeah, I just don't know what else to really say other than I hope and I pray that this does not become another Iraq or Afghanistan. He's talking about having a semi-permanent presence there because you can't just topple a government and say that, yeah, we're going to, we don't want to have a power vacuum, so we're going to stick around and directly rule the country. It's like, okay, so America is an empire. I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point, so we just need to come to terms with that. We're an empire, so Does that mean we need an emperor? Who's going to be our emperor? And obviously we elect our emperor, whoever the president is, every 4 years. Now, the long-term effects of this. Great question. Great question. What are the long-term effects of this? One of the reporters actually asked, what are our partners in the region and the BRICS nations think? Do you think that, what does Russia think? What does China think? What are they going to say about this? Well, I'm sure they're pissed. I mean, they get a shit ton of oil from Venezuela. Well, not anymore. America owns it. This is ours. I don't know that this is something it's not something I wanted. It's not something I asked for. It's not something I voted for. I am very anti-war. I think we need to try to keep our, mind our own damn business. And I think this is going, a lot of people are going to die. Does this help the Venezuelan people? Absolutely. The Venezuelan people will be more free under American occupation than they were under Maduro. I just hope that I don't think it'll be nothing like in Iraq and Afghanistan. I really do. I truly believe that. The people there they're Latino, Hispanic, whatever terms you want to use. They are Latin people, which has a Western foundation of Christianity. So we have that shared cultural aspect. We do not have that in the Middle East, okay? Obviously, we're not a Spanish country. We don't speak Spanish or whatever, but the point is we follow the same primary religion. So what ends up happening when we occupy them, yes, we're an occupying force, but we're not foreign entirely. America is not entirely a foreign nation to Venezuela in the sense of it's totally different when we're in the Middle East occupying their nations. So Trump just came out and said it. We're going to be occupying Venezuela. We will be directly ruling their nation, and we're taking their oil. So those are the three main takeaways, and I just hope it stays there and it doesn't get more wild. I really do not like these wars. I do not like these attacks and strikes and all that stuff. But you stop the drugs coming in, right? You're stopping a lot of the drugs coming in. So I guess the next question is, what are the Democrats and the leftists and the liberals? What are they going to be saying about this? This is illegal. You can't do this. I don't know, man. He just did it. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to impeach him again for attacking a foreign country and then snatching their leader up, abducting their leader, bringing him back to America and charging him for crimes? I mean, good luck. Good luck. Now, if you had something else on Trump that made sense, I guess we can talk about that. But this is like, I'm going to be honest, this is impressive. This is fucking impressive. I didn't know we could just do it. We could just snatch up a world leader. Like, oh, all right, well, that kind of changes things. Well, who do we snatch up next? Now, again, I prefer if we just kind of mind our own business, but if anybody, it should be our direct neighbors. I have, almost no problem with having conversations about we need to be directly involved with Canada and Mexico, having them just do their own complete independent thing. Like, I'm sorry if you're Mexican or Canadian, but dude, it's kind of out of control. You're like right on our border and you're doing all kinds of stuff, I don't know. I'm not saying invade them, but I don't know. I'm going to leave it there. Do you all have any questions, comments, concerns, anything at all? Anything at all? Because to me, this is just wild. This is wild. I just didn't think something like this was possible. I mean, historically, I mean, we've heard of some stuff, where leaders would get snatched up, but I've never seen something. Maybe I'm just not well versed enough, but I've never heard of a head of state being captured by a foreign government, brought back to their country, and held and charged with crimes. It just seems we're not talking like, oh, they lost the war and they surrendered type of scenario. It's just like, we're not at war with them. We just came in the middle of the night, bombed the shit out of them, put an insurgent force on the ground, and snatched the leader up, and then left in helicopters. And as we were flying away, flew some middle fingers and continued bombing the hell out of it, to cover our track. Like, it's just like, what is happening? Can you imagine the movie that's going to come out from this, the TV show? Dude, this is wild. Absolutely wild. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for sticking out with me. Again, this is one of these type of videos or streams where it's like, you're obviously here for my reaction. If you wanted to go watch Trump, you would go watch Trump directly. You were listening to me, listening to him, and my reaction to that. So, at this point, it's just kind of one of these things, man. Like, how do we move forward? And what are we supposed to do? Like, the citizens don't have nearly as much power as we used to have. Our votes don't really matter nearly as much. Yes, we can vote for somebody who's like a Trump or somebody like a Kamala Harris. It's like, yes, you can vote for that. But when it comes to other things like Congress and stuff, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter nearly as much as it used to. So I'm just kind of thinking, like, I did not vote for war, and yet somehow we are doing war-like things, military action against other countries, and I'm just kind of like, well, I guess it doesn't matter who I vote for anymore, right? They're always gonna bomb other countries no matter what I say. I mean, this was not defensive in the normal sense. If Venezuela like attacked us or they threatened to bomb us or something, it's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go in, we're gonna fuck you up, like, of course. But I don't know, man. It just feels a little weird. I'm gonna have to think about this more. I understand they're bringing in a ridiculous amount of drugs and fentanyl and stuff, but I got to think about this more. Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to leave it there. I appreciate everyone, like I said. Thank you so much for watching, if indeed you still are. And if you could, hit that like and subscribe button if you are new here. And I will see you all next. Oh, before I go, one last thing. As soon as I get some time, I think I should have 2 days. That should be enough. I am going to be doing a really in-depth breakdown of Stranger Things season 5. That was my favorite all-time show, favorite show ever in my adult life, last 20 years. And I have a lot to say about Stranger Things. I have my video essay script already ready, and I need to start recording it, and then I'm going to be, adding the visuals and music and stuff like that. I know a lot of people don't give a fuck about Stranger Things. I get that. It's entertainment. But I do nothing but politics 95% of the time. So I need a goddamn break. I need to talk about pop culture and entertainment. I need to, chill because, Trump is bombing Venezuela. We're literally occupying and taking over Venezuela. We're invading them. We're taking their oil fields. Muslims are going around killing Christians all over the planet and bombing Christmas and New Year's celebrations. And it's just like, I need to talk about pop culture. So expect that as my next video. It will be near and dear to me. I expect it to get a little emotional. It's kind of one of these things, like, it's weird, but getting emotional about some fictional universe. But when you've invested like 10 years into a show, man, like you just kind of, you fall in love with, some people fall in love with the characters in a sense. I didn't really fall in love with the characters. I fell in love with the vibe, the nostalgia. So yeah, that for me, Stranger Things was nostalgia. But anyway, like I said, look out for that on, let's see, what day of the week is it? Today is Saturday. It's going to take me a couple days to do this. It's definitely not going to be released Sunday. Think about Monday evening, probably. I will have my Stranger Things season 5 and series finale and all that stuff breakdown. Yeah. And in all things political, always go back through my catalog is what I tell people. You know, I've been on YouTube for like 15 years combined. This channel's been up since, I don't know, man, like 2012, I think, maybe 2015. I don't remember. There are thousands of videos, you know, thousands of hours of me blabbering on. So if you wanted to check any of that out, you're more than welcome to. So again, thank you so much for watching, if indeed you still are, and I will see you all next time.